Imagine, just for a second, a single decision
Yeah.
made in a flash. One didn't just, redefine an industry, but totally altered the course of a whole nation's economy.
Yeah, we're talking about a moment involving, well, an almost unimaginable amount of money back then.
Right, a handshake worth nearly $500 million. Just try wrapping your head around that figure in those days.
It's
Astronomical.
definitely more than just a big number. It's this pivotal point where you see ambition, raw industrial power, and frankly, financial genius all collide. And they forge something completely new, setting precedents that, I mean, they still shape our economy today.
Absolutely. So today, you're joining us for a deep dive. We're getting into one of the most legendary business deals ever. J.P. Morgan acquiring Andrew Carnegie's massive steel empire. And this wasn't just news. It led straight to the creation of the United States Steel Corporation. We're pulling insights from sources like the birth of U.S. Steel, Carnegie and Morgan's historic deal history in 5 minutes or less, and others too. Our mission to really unpack this key moment from the Gilded Age. That era of crazy growth, big social gaps, sometimes ruthless business.
Yeah.
We want to understand what drove these two titans, Carnegie and Morgan, and explore the huge, lasting impact their deal had.
And I think you'll find, as we dig in, that the themes here, corporate power, market influence, even regulation, they echo really loudly today. This isn't just some dusty history lesson. It's kind of the origin story for modern capitalism in a way.
Okay, let's do it. To really get the scale here, we need to start with the guy who built the empire, Andrew Carnegie. His story starts, well, pretty rough. Poverty, a Scottish immigrant. He works his way up in the railroad industry, which was booming. But it's there. He has this light bulb moment, almost prophetic.
What's really amazing about Carnegie, I think, is his foresight. He saw beyond the next quarter. He realized steel-strong, durable steel was going to be the backbone of modern infrastructure, replacing iron.
Right.
It wasn't just about more trains. It was about building the framework for a whole new America. Skyscrapers, bridges, everything.
And he didn't just see it. He acted. Smart moves. He invested big early on in the Bessemer process.
Ah, yes, the Bessemer process. Key innovation.
Exactly. For anyone unfamiliar, this is like a quantum leap. It lets you mass-produce steel super quickly, so he could make steel fast and way cheaper than anyone else. Game over for a lot of competitors. Talk about market disruption.
Totally. And his business philosophy was just as sharp. He mastered what we now call vertical integration, meaning he didn't just make steel, he wanted to own every single step. Think about it. The iron ore mines, the coal fields, the raw stuff, then the railroads to move it all, then the factories, the furnaces, everything.
Wow. So he controlled the entire process, start to finish. What was the big advantage there, besides just cutting costs?
Oh, it was a massive competitive advantage, way beyond just cost. By owning the whole supply chain, he wasn't dependent on other suppliers. He got consistent high-quality materials when he needed them, so he could guarantee both lower prices and better quality. Competitors juggling different suppliers just couldn't keep up. It was an operational masterpiece, really.
So by the late 1890s, Carnegie Steel isn't just big, it's a monster.
Oh, Leviathan, yeah.
Sources say it was the largest, most profitable steel maker on Earth. And get this, producing more steel than all of Great Britain combined.
Let that sink in. More than the entire UK.
It's hard to even imagine that scale. This one company is literally building America. Steel for bridges, skyscrapers, railroads.
Yeah.
Reshaping the whole country.
The scale is just staggering. It really shows America becoming this global industrial powerhouse. Carnegie's empire was that growth made physical. But interestingly, even with all that success, Carnegie himself was starting to look elsewhere, beyond the mills.
So wait, at the height of his power, he's thinking about getting out. What was driving that? Retirement? Philanthropy?
Both, really. He had this long-held belief, apparently, that the rich had a duty to give back. That was deep-seated. But also, just the sheer grind of running that massive operation was wearing him down. And crucially, there was friction, growing tension with partners, especially Henry Clay Frick.
Ah, Frick. Yeah, that relationship got pretty rocky, didn't it?
Very rocky. Lots of stress, personally and professionally. So this internal conflict kind of made selling the whole thing look pretty appealing. It was a way out, a path to focus on philanthropy and, ditch the headaches.
That internal stuff, the Frick tension, that makes it more human. It created an opening, maybe, a vulnerability.
Exactly. An opening that J.P. Morgan was perfectly positioned to see.
Right. Enter Morgan. If Carnegie was the steel king,
Morgan was the most powerful financier of his time. Undisputed.
the sources paint him as more than a banker. a master strategist and negotiator. And this wasn't his first rodeo consolidating industries, right?
Not at all. He had a solid track record. He'd already basically revolutionized the railroad industry doing similar things, bringing order out of chaos, stabilizing things after ruinous competition.
Right.
He could spot fragmentation and inefficiency, then just consolidate power, create stability, and massive profits.
So Morgan looks at the steel industry, all fragmented, cutthroat competition, prices all over the place, powerful independent players,
Yeah.
and he sees opportunity, not just risk.
He saw chaos as, well, inefficiency waiting to be fixed. His genius was seeing the systemic waste, especially from endless price wars. He pictured consolidating the whole mess into one massive corporation, something that could dominate stabilized prices, a huge horizontal play.
Bold, audacious even.
Very. It would create this behemoth, kill off the destructive competition, guarantee better margins under his control, of course.
And for that vision to work, to have that kind of market power, he needed Carnegie Steel. It was the keystone, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely crucial. Without Carnegie's dominant share and efficiency, the whole consolidation just wouldn't have the same punch. Morgan knew this. He'd been watching Carnegie for years,
Okay.
waiting
For the right moment.
And it came almost casually. Carnegie apparently mentioned to his partner, Charles Schwab, that he might consider selling if the price was right.
Ah, the magic words.
That was the signal Morgan needed. The door was finally cracked open. Carnegie might actually be willing to deal.
And Morgan, I mean, he had all the cards, didn't he?
Yes.
Influence, resources. He could command vast amounts of capital with a single word. His network was everywhere. He just needed that price. But how do you actually broker a deal between two guys like this, titans?
Well, that's where Charles Schwab steps in. He's kind of the unsung hero here, the catalyst.
Okay.
Described as sharp and ambitious, crucially, he understood both men. He got Carnegie's pride and his history, and he understood Morgan's strategic mind. He was the perfect bridge.
So let's set the scene. December 1900, the University Club in New York. Very exclusive. Morgan's hosting this dinner. Top industrialists are there. You can just imagine the atmosphere, right? Thick with cigar smoke and animated conversation. Power in the room.
Oh yeah, the elite of the elite. And Schwab, sensing his moment, uses it brilliantly. He gets the floor, and he delivers this presentation mixing charisma and hard data. It wasn't just numbers, it was performance, laying out this vision.
A vision for a new steel trust, right?
Yeah,
Bring Carnegie Steel together with other big players, create this giant.
exactly. He talked about controlling prices, boosting efficiency, getting rid of wasteful competition, and of course, massive potential profits, dominating not just America, but the world market.
Sound the dream.
He really was. He painted a picture of a future free from the industry's self-inflicted wounds.
And Morgan,
Yeah.
how did he react?
Listening intently, puffing his cigar, as usual, very focused. Schwab finishes. There's this pause, the weight of the idea hanging there.
Yeah.
Then Morgan, famously, a man of few words, turns to Schwab and just says, "We should talk."
Wow. 2 words.
2 words. That's all it took. The biggest deal in history set in motion just like that. Incredible.
It really is a turning point. The abstract idea suddenly starts becoming real.
Mm-hmm. Schwab laid the groundwork perfectly.
So the very next morning, Schwab doesn't mess around. He goes straight to Carnegie's office, got to deliver Morgan's message. He's interested.
Right. And Carnegie listens. He's shrewd. Remember, he built this thing from nothing. If he sells, it's going to be on his terms. No question.
This really shows his resolve, doesn't it? He knows the value of what he created.
Absolutely. It wasn't just a company. It was his life's work.
And then comes the iconic moment. Carnegie reaches for a piece of paper.
Blank sheet.
And without discussion, without hesitation, he writes down one number.
Just write it down.
$480 million. 480 million.
A staggering sum. Utterly mind-blowing for 1901. It instantly became the largest business transaction in history at that point.
Can you imagine the shockwaves? The newspapers must have gone nuts.
Oh, they were agog. One journalist wrote something like, a pen stroke creates a fortune a king would envy, redrawing America's power map. It was huge news. So Schwab takes this piece of paper, this incredible number, straight back to Morgan.
And Morgan's reaction is just as legendary, right?
Totally. He apparently barely blinked, looked at the number, paused for maybe a second, then calm, confident, totally decisive. He says just 2 words again. I accept.
I accept. No haggling, no counteroffer.
Nope. Done. Just like that.
Wow.
It says so much about Morgan's certainty. He knew what he was getting. He knew the strategic value. It wasn't just about buying Carnegie Steel. It was the cornerstone for his much bigger plan.
Which leads us right to the birth of U.S. Steel, a whole new era. Because Morgan wasn't just buying one company.
No, his vision was way bigger. He was consolidating an entire industry, and he moved fast. Early 1901.
How'd he do it?
Ruthless efficiency, merged Carnegie's empire with other major steel companies he already controlled or snapped up. Federal Steel, National Steel.
And the result?
United States Steel Corporation. The scale was just unprecedented. Market cap. A staggering $1.4 billion. That made it instantly the largest corporation in history.
$1.4 billion
Yeah.
in $1,901.
Yeah. And its dominance. It controlled nearly 70% of America's steel production. 70%.
So this one company didn't just change the steel industry, it changed like the foundation of American business itself.
Absolutely. U.S. Steel set new standards for everything. Corporate structure, how they dealt with labor, industrial efficiency. It wasn't just about money. U.S. Steel pioneered the management models for these huge companies, hierarchies, standardized production, stuff that got copied everywhere.
Right.
It changed work for millions, and it basically wrote the blueprint for corporate governance that we're still kind of dealing with. It signaled that the future belonged to these giant corporations, not just lone entrepreneurs.
Okay, so we have these two giants, Carnegie and Morgan, but after the deal, their paths really diverge, don't they?
Dramatically. Carnegie walks away with what? $225 million in gold bonds, makes him maybe the richest man on earth for a while.
But his focus shifted completely.
Completely. Sources emphasize his long-held belief that the wealthy had a duty to give back. He spent the rest of his life on philanthropy. I mean, the scale is incredible. Funded over 2,500 public libraries, supported universities like Carnegie Mellon, poured money into science, world peace initiatives, the arts. His impact there is just immense.
Meanwhile, Morgan, the deal just cements his power, right?
Oh, yeah. Solidified his reputation as the undisputed king of American finance. U.S. Steel became this monument to the new era of industrial capitalism, a symbol of corporate power, financial might.
It's such a stark contrast.
Almost poetic, isn't it? One divests completely for the public good, the other builds an even bigger empire. But together, their actions in 1901, they just irrevocably changed the course of business, industry, and society. Set a whole new path for the economy.
So the aftermath. This deal reshaped American industry. U.S. Steel set benchmarks for efficiency, showed the power of consolidation. But power like that, it attracts criticism, right?
Always. While some people saw Morgan as this visionary stabilizing force, a lot of others saw U.S. Steel as a dangerous step toward monopoly.
Stifling competition, concentrating wealth.
Exactly. Critics argued it distorted the free market. And this deal really poured fuel on the fire of the ongoing debates about trusts and monopolies that were already bubbling up.
And this wasn't just talk. U.S. Steel's sheer size directly fueled public anger, didn't it? Leading to Teddy Roosevelt's trust busting.
Absolutely. It became Exhibit A. It pushed forward antitrust efforts, laid the groundwork for laws like the Clayton Antitrust Act later on. U.S. Steel cast a long shadow over every debate about market power.
It raises that fundamental question we still wrestle with. How do you balance the efficiency that comes with scale against the need for healthy competition?
Precisely. For America, this deal really marked the beginning of a new economic reality, where huge corporations, not individuals, dominated, where massive power could be consolidated with just, a handshake and a figure written on a sheet of paper.
The echoes are undeniable today. Precedents for mergers, the roots of antitrust law, the whole Gilded Age tension between capitalism's promise and its perils. It's an amazing story. Ambition, vision, force of personality changing everything.
Yeah, it's a moment that keeps informing how we think about corporate power, finance, and the need for regulation.
So we've walked through this incredible story. Two giants, one historic deal, the birth of an economic behemoth that totally changed America. A testament to the power of industry and finance for good and maybe for ill.
And it really makes you think about how those historical forces still shape our economy right now.
It does. So here's a thought to leave you with. As you look at today's corporate giants, the tech behemoths, the huge global companies, and all the debates about their influence, what do you think is the biggest legacy of that Carnegie and Morgan deal still echoing today? How do we, as a society, keep trying to balance that massive efficiency with healthy competition? How do we stop concentrated power from, stifling the next big thing? It's a question that feels just as urgent now as it must have over a century ago.